Have you ever noticed those exclusive comic book covers? You know, the ones you can usually only get at a specific comic book store or convention? They are often really hard to get, have a low print run, but comic book collectors love hunting for them. Well, today I'm going to share with you how you can get a comic book publisher to print your very own variant comic book cover. Yoshi! Hello everyone, welcome back to the YOSHICAST. I'm Yoshi, and today I'm going to share with you how you can work with a comic book publisher to get your own exclusive variant comic book cover made. I'm going to walk you through the steps of getting your own exclusive variant comic book cover made because I've already been through them with my co-hosts at the Transmissions podcast. You see, a few years ago we were looking for a fun way to get our Transformers themed podcast, Transmissions, noticed by Transformers fans. One idea we kept coming back to was having an exclusive variant comic book cover made that we could take to conventions. A comic that you could only pick up from us through the podcast. One that had original art right there on the cover with our logo stamped right on the front. It was honestly a great idea, and the four of us had a lot of fun coming up with the cover design ideas. In the end, we decided to do an homage to issue 18 from the original 1980s Marvel Comics Transformers run. The original cover featured Blaster battling Straxus on the planet Cybertron. Our cover was produced for issue number 1 of IDW's Transformers, Till All Are One. It features Windblade and Starscream battling it out on the planet Cybertron. It's a beautiful cover, and I'm proud to have had a small part in its creation. So let's get into this. How do you go about having an exclusive variant comic book cover made? Step 1. Contact the comic book publisher. This may seem obvious to some and not to others, but you do want to contact the comic book publisher and let them know what your ideas are, just to make sure that they're okay with it, to make sure that the title you would like a variant cover made for is one that they can do it with. So you're going to want to contact the comic book publisher, introduce yourself. You want to let them know who you are. What's your name? Who are you associated with? Give them a little bit of background of who you are. Let them know what comic book series you would like your variant cover to be on. Let them know what ideas you have for your variant comic book cover. Provide reference art, provide examples, copy and paste art from other comic books to show them kind of what you're shooting for. Give them the most clear picture you can of what you want in a variant comic book cover. Let them know what artist you would like to have work on the cover. You can have a professional comic book artist do the cover, or you can have somebody you know, a friend, or somebody who's just very artistically inclined to do the cover. It's been done before. Same goes for the inker. What inker, if any, do you want to work on this exclusive comic book cover? And what colorist do you want to work on this exclusive comic book cover? Lastly, let them know when you would like to get the books by. Are you trying to meet a deadline for a particular convention? Are you just trying to get them in your store? Whatever the reason, let them know what you're shooting for. Providing the comic book publisher with all of this information prevents a whole bunch of emails going back and forth. You're asking them already, can you get a variant comic book cover? Can it look like this cover idea that you've put forth to them? That way, if it's yes, 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 you're saving a bunch of emails. If it's a yes, yes, no, yes, yes, then you guys can focus on that one area that needs to be changed. Comic book publishers may have strict guidelines for what kind of cover that they can produce, so your idea may be rejected or it may be accepted. You never know. Once the comic book publisher has given you the okay, the next step is to contact the artist you want to work on the cover. Send them an email with your ideas for the comic book cover. Give examples, give reference art, even if it's stick figures. Show what it is you would like to have on this comic book cover. Make sure that everybody is on the same page. That way, you can just let the artist go and work on the cover and be confident that you're going to get a very awesome piece of art at the end of it. You also have to anticipate that the comic book artist may be working on deadlines, and you may have to wait before they can actually devote any time to your particular comic book cover. So our experience on Transmissions, we only had one real change during this process, and that was with the colors. Once we got the original art from the comic book artist, we submitted it to the colorist, and we asked the colorist to go ahead and do this kind of in a G1 style, flatter colors, if you will. And when that came back, we decided that the colors didn't look so good with the modern rendering of Transformers. So we went ahead and asked them to go ahead and update the colors to what they've been doing more in the more modern Transformers comic books. And the end result turned out great. So the last step here is making sure everyone gets paid. You're going to have to pay the comic book publisher to have the books printed and shipped. You're going to have to pay the comic book artists, the penciler, the inker, the colorist. You're going to have to pay them all. And this step can happen anywhere in the process, honestly. Some artists like to be paid in full up front. Some artists like to be paid half now and half when the project's complete. And yeah, you just have to budget for how much this is going to cost. So it's perfectly fine to ask comic book publishers what the quote for getting these books printed are, asking the artists for a quote of what this project is going to cost before moving forward. That's perfectly acceptable. And it's also worth noting that if you want the original pencils for this comic book cover, the original paper and art that was created, that's going to be another cost. That can be anything. So in the end, we've got a finished variant comic book cover. We ordered 1,000 copies, and all the work, all the art, all the coloring, all the books, having it shipped to us cost almost $2,500. That does not include the original pencil art, which we also bought. I'm not going to get into how much that cost because that varies so widely from artist to artist and how much detail and work they had to put into the cover. So that number doesn't matter. To get the book, to get the variant exclusive comic book, to get the 1,000 copies that we wanted shipped to us, all the work that went into it, all the art, all the color, that set us back almost $2,500. Well, that's it for my guide on exclusive variant comic book covers. Hopefully you learned a little something about how variant covers are made. If you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I can do this. Haha. Well, today I'm going to share with you how you can get a The cover features Straxus. The cover featured Straxus. The cover featured Straxus. The cover featured Blaster. Our cover was produced for the first issue of IDW's publishing Our cover was produced for IDW's publishing. Blah. Cottonmouth.